How do you handle the I want to think about it or just let me think it over objection? When you hear this at the end of the sales call, it's probably extremely frustrating because you just spend all this time walking them through your service or product, only for them to basically slap you in the face, say they need to go and think about it, and then end up ghosting you after a few days. So first I'm going to tell you what to say when you get that objection, and then after that, I'm going to tell you what you can say during the call to prevent it from ever happening again. So when a prospect says, I need to think about it, it's not because they actually need to go and think about it, but rather it's a smokescreen for what the real concern is. Because when a prospect gets asked for the sale, naturally fight or flight's going to go off in their head, right? They're human beings. But also as human beings, we navigate conflict very well. So when they're approached with this decision of a couple months of rent, you better believe they're not going to take it lightly, which is ultimately where the infamous I need to think about it objection comes from. It's just an abdication of responsibility. So when a prospect tells you they need to think about it, you're always going to respond saying this. Okay, that's not a problem at all. That's kind of what most people do, actually. I guess before you do go and think about it, do you feel like what we went over could be the answer for you? What this does is it takes it back to results-based thinking rather than the objection itself. But yeah, I feel like this can get me where I want to go. Okay, and what was it that you were hoping to go over in your head just to, see if I can't help out? Yeah, it's just a lot of money. So let's pause there. Now we've isolated what the real concern is. As we all know, it's not the think about it. What it really is money. Now that's scenario number one, which is usually going to be the most common occurrence of a think about objection. Now scenario number two is where a prospect's going to throw out multiple objections at once, wrapped around in a think about it. For example, yeah, John, I'm just going to take a few days to mull it over, in my head, go and talk to my wife, check the finances, and then I'll get back to you in a few days with a response. Now, doing the original, I need to think about it objection handle here is just going to trigger more resistance. An old mentor of mine told me when objection handling, you want to listen to what someone means, not what they say. So let's take a second to understand what this person is saying. Although it's disguised as a think about it wrapped with money and spouse and finances and all these different things, what the real objection is fear. So the way to handle this is to just reframe the way that they're viewing this decision, which is done like this. Yeah, I could definitely understand that. Can I share a perspective on that though? Well, the thing about it is like everything that you've done so far in life has gotten you to right here, right now. And the question I really have for you is, do you want to stay there? Now, I'm not really referring to buying the program. What I'm referring to is, do you always want to have to get in front of decisions like this and say it's too expensive or say you need to think about it? Well, no, obviously I want to be sure about myself. Why though? Why don't you want to do that? Well, because if I'm constantly on these calls, I'm probably not having something figured out. And listen, man, it's normal. That's just what you're comfortable doing. And I don't judge you for that. But let me ask you, where does this way of thinking come from where it feels like we need to have everything figured out before we do make a decision? Yeah, I guess it's just how I was raised. And looking back over the past 2 years that you've been doing this job, what do you feel you've lost? But yeah, definitely time and a lot of money for sure. Yeah, and you're smart for saying that, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that. So what do you feel you need to let go so that these next 2 years don't look like the past 2 years? Yeah, I need to let go of trying to do it all myself. Well, you don't have to, man, right? Most people don't. So the you who's already at 20K a month instead of 10, do you feel like he gets over that way of thinking, or does he revert back to it and continue letting it affect his decision making? Yeah, he definitely gets over it. So what are you going to do? So if we pause there, that's exactly what reframing someone's thinking is. So what I just did is I reframed the way that he views big decisions, which is going to cause him to realize that he actually needs to make a change and that his way of thinking is the actual enemy. It's not me, it's not the product. Now, the third common scenario we're going to see here is when people are just not budging. No matter what we say, they're always going to revert back to, oh, I need to check the finances, I need to think about it, whatever it may be. What we want to do here is we want to show them that that way of thinking they're using in this moment is causing them to be comfortable. And what comfortability does is it kills all ambition, all dreams that they have. On top of that, we want to frame this decision as very difficult because psychologically in people's brain, when they see big decision, they see big results. So this is exactly how we would do that. And listen, man, I totally understand what you're saying. The thing about it is no matter which way we do this, right? Whether you go and think about it for a day, a month, a year, a decade, the decision is always going to be uncomfortable because you're changing the way you're doing things so you can get the results you never had in life. And I never said this decision was going to be easy, but you getting from 10K a month to 20K a month and supporting your family to the level you want to is probably pretty difficult, right? But the thing is, as a man, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to get the things that you truly want in life. Because reality says, what happens if you continue making the comfortable decisions around investing in yourself? What do you really see happening? Well, yeah, I'll probably just stay in the same spot and never get to where I want to go. So how committed are you to getting over that way of thinking, changing the way you're doing things, and actually investing in yourself to get there? You don't have to, man. Yeah, I'm committed. Well, if you knew you wouldn't fail, would you do it right now? Yeah, I would. So what's the uncomfortable decision you need to make? And how do you need to start believing in yourself right here, right now, so you can get the results that you truly want? Yeah, I need to take a bet on myself. So what are you gonna do? I'm gonna do it. Now, just like that, that's another reframe you can use to get them committed right here, right now, in the moment, and saying yes to your service. Now, what's so much easier than handling think about it objections is pre-handling them. Because the same way of thinking that's causing them to need to think about it right now is the exact same one they've used that's prevented them from investing in really anything else in the past. So all we have to do is uncover that in the beginning and then handle it before we even drop the price. So let me ask you, what have you actually invested into into in terms of like a more advanced mentorship so you can get to XYZ desired result? Yeah, I really haven't invested in anything yet. Why not? What do you feel prevented you? Yeah, I never really thought about it, I guess. I mean, I guess it wasn't a priority. Well, what's changed now? Yeah, I actually just got laid off from my job like a month ago, so I really have no option now. So pause. Now we know exactly what the objection is going to be at the end. It's going to be a think about it because this guy doesn't see it as a priority. So what we're going to do is we're going to show him why that way of thinking has caused him to be in a position where it's do or die and not just a want. Let me ask you, I mean, like, can you see how that way of thinking where we put this off until it became like a need has put you in a position now where we're a month into not having a job and we don't have like an outside income stream? Yeah, I can definitely see that. Because looking back over the past 2 years that you've been in this job and you've neglected getting some outside help, what do you feel you've lost? Definitely time and a lot of money and, especially time with my family. So what if you keep on allowing this way of thinking of, oh, it's just not a priority to continue to affect the way you make decisions? Well, I'm probably going to end up on the street because I don't have a job anymore. And I can appreciate you saying that, right? That takes a real man to be able to admit that. Now, my question to you is not, hey, do you want to go and make this money? Do you want to develop this outside income stream? My question to you is more so, how committed are you to getting over this way of thinking that's plagued you for so long and actually investing in yourself to get there? Because you don't have to. Yeah, I'm very committed. Pause. Now what this does is it handles the objection before it even pops up, because we're getting him to realize that his way of thinking that's caused him to be in this position that he doesn't like is the reason why he hasn't made a change in the past, and it's the reason why he won't get the results he wants in the future unless he changes right here, right now, and commits. So those are the 2 ways to handle think about objection and the 1 way to pre-handle it. If you have any more questions about sales, you can go into the description in this video. Make sure you join our free high ticket syndicate group. This will link you to a Discord. It's where I answer all questions I know about sales and how I've got to the point where I make $30,000 a month. So I'll see you guys there.